piano lesson number 9. Today I'm going to be talking about two things. One is, what is a key signature? How do we use it? And two, I'm going to explain the circle of fifths. Okay, so let's get right into it. Okay, so in the last video I was talking about majors and minors, mainly minors, and that they have relative majors. So I wanted to draw out an example of majors and minors, and also show you what a key signature is. Okay, so I'm using D major because it has two sharps in it. It has F sharp and C sharp. And don't worry, I'll show you how to memorize this pattern in a minute. It's very simple. Okay, so what is a key signature? What is a key signature? Basically, it's a group of sharps or flats that regulates kind of the scale. So say we've got D major, right? So we need a tone. For a major scale, we need tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, right? Okay, so if we have D major going to E, that's a tone. D to E, or now we're on E. Now if we went right to F, that would not be a tone, it would be a semitone. So the F has to be sharped to stay a major scale. So there's an F sharp already there. It's like it always lands right where we need it, and it modifies it. So F sharp, now F sharp to G is a semitone. So if you remember, it goes tone, tone, semitone. So we have a semitone right there, just where we needed it. Tone, tone, tone. Now C sharp to D is a semitone, so it just worked out perfectly. Okay, so that's what a key signature does. It's like it matches everything together. So if you're in D and you remember the key signature for D, then boom, you know how to play D major scale. If you're on A flat major and you know the key signature for A flat major, boom, you know all the keys. It's a key signature that automatically takes care of it. Now the purpose of it for theory writing is so you just write what you know you need at the start, and then you can forget about it. You can just write all the notes without having to write in sharps or flats all over the place. So it brings a lot less clutter to the music and makes it more understandable to read. Now when we have to alter the key signature just temporarily, that's called an accidental. And whenever we do that in music, it's written on the music right in front of the note, and it's cancelled right after the bar line. So the accidental can be a sharp, a natural, or a flat. Either one of all three of those. Either one. Doesn't matter. So right now I have a sharp here. So this is an accidental, and it's being raised up. Now why there's not one here and one here is because I've written D major on the top line and I've written B minor on the bottom line. Now if you remember from our last video, say we're on D major and we want to find the relative minor to D major, we go 3 semitones down. So if we're on D, we go to like D flat, C, look, we're on B. So B minor and D major are the two relatives. Now, I wrote a harmonic minor scale for the B minor. So the 7th note is raised up 1 semitone, and that's why there's a sharp there, because I needed to raise it. Now, if you don't understand that, that's perfectly fine. You have lots of time to get your head around this, and this isn't like absolutely necessary to learn piano, but this will help you get the understanding so that you can understand what's going on in the music. Okay? Alright. Now, this is where the key signature is located. It's right at the start, and then the time signature is right there, which you probably remember before. So now we've got the whole thing going on. We have our grand staff with our treble clef, our bass clef. We've got them connected with the brace there, so that signifies a grand staff. Then we have our key signatures, we have our time signatures, we have our notes adding up to 4, 4. So we draw a bar line, another 4, and our double bar line, and that's the end. Okay, so that is a key signature. A key signature is something at the start that you would write. Now look at this. In B minor, the key signature is the same as D major. So it's like they're signing the same way, but the only difference is B minor has this little accidental there for a harmonic minor scale. Okay, so there's ways to tell later on, but for now, that's what I wanted to show you. Now I'm going to show you the circle of fifths, which is a chart that will explain all the scales. Okay. So before I show you the actual full circle, because the full circle can be like kind of like this. Whoa. I'm going to break it down into a couple steps here. So first we need to start by memorizing some phrases. Are you ready? It's only one actually. And then the other, you have to say it backwards. Okay. So the first phrase, or the only phrase, is, I need you to say this back to me while you're watching this. Say, Father Charles, why can't I hear you talking back to me? Father Charles goes, oh right, it's a video. Okay, maybe I'll just pretend that you're doing it. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. So it's Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Okay, so you guys probably have that ingrained in your head. Now, do you know why I said that so many times? Because it is the most important phrase for learning your scales that you'll ever know. It's key. With just this phrase, you could figure out this whole circle of fifths. Just with this one phrase. That's it. It's so important. So memorize this like the back of your hand. So you can just say, Father Charles goes down and ends battle. And now you have to know backwards. You know, and they say it twice as fast, but go backwards or whatever. Yeah, we got to do that with this one too. So now you have to learn it backwards. So it's battle ends and down goes Charles' father. Notice how it makes grammatical sense either way you say it. Now I'm not sure in different languages if that actually makes sense, but in English it's fine. Okay, so battle ends and down goes Charles' father. I think of like an airplane. And Father Charles is like in this little airplane, and it's this like sky airplane, and he's like looking down at the ground. He's like, "Whoa, man, my kid's down there. I just gotta." He's like this captain. He's like Sky Captain Charles, and he's a father, and he's just like, "Okay, I gotta help my son out. He's on the battlefield." And then somehow he gets hit, and it's just like, and he goes down, and the whole battle's like over, and they're all like, "Oh, Sky Captain Charles is done." Okay, yeah. I just realized how ridiculous that sounds when I say it out loud, but yeah. Anyway, I think of a war and I think of all that, and then Father Charles goes down and ends battle. So it's like he's in an airplane and he just gets shot down or something. Anyway, okay, so that's what I think. Now, memorize that saying, make sure you know it like the back of your hand. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to point out here, now this is the circle of fifths without it all filled in here. Now, I have a C plus here. This represents C major. And it's right up at the top because it actually has no sharps or flats. So think of it as like neutral. Okay? So if this actually sort of helps if you think of a battery with a positive and negative charge. So flats go down, so let's just think of flats as going negative. So when you go this way, it's like a negative charge. There's more flats being added and it's getting more and more negative. And this way, it's going up, like sharps go up, so it's more and more positively charged up. So just think of it as there's more sharps and more sharps and more sharps, because at the end here there's 7 sharps, okay? And there's 7 flats on this side. So what you'll notice is when you get to the end, as positively charged as you can or as negatively charged as you can, it's the exact same as the neutral, but with the flat or the sharp. So if we C major or C sharp major or C flat major, this is like the exact middle ground, this is the exact most negative, and this is the exact most positive. And notice how A minor, A sharp minor, and A flat minor. So I always start my circle of fifths this way. I draw my circle, I put a little thing, put A sharp minor, A flat minor, C flat major, C sharp major, and I put them all together like that. Now some people, they do this thing where they actually overlap the scales because some scales are actually the same as other scales. Like G flat major and F sharp minor are the exact same scale. But I don't want to complicate things, and I find it much more clear when I do it this way, so we're not going to get into that. That's called enharmonic notes and enharmonic keys, but don't worry about it, okay? Alright, so this is how I start my circle of fifths off, and it lays a good foundation because I have the ends, either end, and the middle. So I have a good foundation to start with. It only takes like 5 seconds and it's so easy to remember. So keep that in your mind. Okay, now I'll stop this and I'll put a picture of what this looks like right in the middle for like 5 seconds so you can freeze it and write it down if you want. Okay, now let's move on to the next step. Okay, so step 2 in drawing your circle of fifths. What you're going to do, I've filled in this side of the circle now, as you can see. And I added this one. Now why did I do this one but not the other ones here? Well, there's a reason. Now, do you remember the phrase I was trying to get you to remember? Can you say it now? Okay, I think I hear people saying, Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Now, look at this. Father for F, Charles for C, goes for G, down for D, A, and you get the point. So it fills it out for itself. F major, C major, G major, D major, like this. So it goes Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Cool, hey? Father Charles goes down and ends battle. So now we have all the major scales for this side. Once you get to the end, then you have to continue in, it's now so charged up that it has to be in the sharps. So it's Father Charles. Father Charles, just like it was here, but now it's in the sharp way. Do you understand? So it's Father Charles goes down and ends battle, and these were all just in the neutral without any sharps written in them on the side. And then here, it's Father Charles. See how these are the same, but these are neutral, and these have a sharp in them, in the name. Okay, so that's the second step. Now I'll show you the next step. Now the next step. This is completing the flat side of the major scales. So we completed the sharp side, and this is the flat side too, but it's really easy this way. So this is the net, like see how there's no flats in the name? Now these are all flats and these are sharps. So what do we do to do this? Well, we do the phrase backwards. We go, battle ends and down goes Charles' father. Now watch this. Battle, ends for E, and for A, down for D, goes Charles. Now watch this. We don't have an F here. Why not? Because it's already up here. So we don't actually go to F. We just go down to C. So it's battle, ends, and down goes Charles. And you stop right there. And that's the third step, I think. I might be getting all mixed up with all these steps. Cutting and stopping and drawing and whatever. But that's the next step. That's the word I'm going to use from now on, just next step. That way I don't have to keep track of all these weird steps. Okay, so I'll do the next part, and you'll see. Now, one thing I do want to point out before I stop is notice how all these are flatted now, and I'm reversing the order I'm saying to them. Because when you're going flatted, you have to do the reverse order, and when you're going sharps, you have to go forward with the F. So think F for forward, and flats, B for backwards, because you're starting with B flat first. Okay? B for backwards for flats. F is the first sharp, so it's forwards. Okay? Alright, so these are all flatted. All of them. Okay. Okay, now let's go to so now we are on the next step. Next step. Alright, so now we're going to add all the sharps. This is all the sharps that would be in the key signature for each scale. Now this is how it works. So if we want the key signature for G major, we find G major right there. What sharp? There's an F sharp. So F sharp is in G major. Now let's say we want E major, so we find E major, there it is. There's a D sharp, but it's all the sharps before this as well. So there's a D sharp, there's a G sharp, there's a C sharp, and there's an F sharp. So F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp. So it's all these ones before. So E major has all those sharps on it, it has 4 sharps. Okay, C sharp major, it has all of these sharps together, so it's F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Crazy, huh? So, and what is that pattern? Do I even have to say it? Father Charles goes down and ends battle. So I hope you guys know it by now. Okay, now I'll do the flat side. So now I've completed the next step, which is adding the flats to the flatted side. So, can you guess what pattern I'm using here? Battle ends, battle ends, and down goes Charles' father. Now there's something you should take note of here. Now, it starts with F major, it's the first flatted scale, and what is the first flat of it? It's a B flat. Now look at this, the next major scale is B flat major. And it has an E flat in it. It has B flat and then E flat. So whatever your newest flat is going to be what your next scale is in the order that it goes. So look, B flat, E flat, and then this E flat major has A flat in it. So the next one is A flat, which has D flat in it, which goes to D flat major, and so on and so forth. So if you're ever looking at a key signature, all you have to do is look at how many flats does it have? It has 3 flats. And then you go back 1 flat. Okay, if it has 3 flats, just go to the one before that, E flat. So E flat major is your scale, even if it has 3 flats in it. That's how you see. Okay, but anyway, so that's just something I wanted to point out there. Okay, so it's B, E, A, so it just goes in buttons and goes Charles' father, all the way to the bottom. So C flat major has all those flats in it, D flat major has B, E, A, D, G. Okay, and this is how it's working. Okay, now you're probably seeing how it's all coming together. So these on the outside are the accidentals, or what's in the key signatures, either raising it or lowering it. These on the here, between, just on the outside of the circle, this is all the major scales. Now I'm going to fill in the inner part, which is the minor scales. Okay, so that's the next spot. So let's go. Okay, now I've added some of my minor scales using guess what pattern again. And I'm doing this because it takes away having to memorize what goes with what. If you can remember where you just start, it's only a couple places instead of having to remember a whole bunch. So it simplifies it if you just remember one phrase and then do it like this. So now to do the minors, we're going to start with the minors that have no flats or sharps attached to them in their names. So F minor starts with A flat major. So we're going to go Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Ta-da! So that's all the minor scales in there. Now, so F major and D minor go together, and they both share B flat as their one flat in their key signature. F minor here has D flat, A flat, E flat, B flat in its key signature because it's in common. So that's the relative minor, this is the relative major, and those are the sharps or flats that it has in that scale. So B minor goes to D major. Okay, so let's go on to the next bit, which you're probably guessing where this is going to go. Now all I've done here is I've added F sharp minor, C sharp minor, G sharp, so I've gone Father Charles goes down and. So see how it works perfectly there? The A sharp minor, which was already there before, I didn't even write that in. I just put these in. Father Charles goes down and it lines up perfectly. So F sharp minor goes with A minor, C sharp minor goes with E major, G sharp minor goes with B major, and whatnot. So as you can write this out and study this at home, once you can write this out, then you can look at it and you can see all the scales at a glance. So there's only one more step left. See, I bet you're thinking, wow, this is easy now. Why couldn't I have done this by myself? Why do I need Andrew? Well, the thing is, I'm trying to show you how easy this really is. Music isn't that complicated. Pretty much anyone can learn it. But to be like world class and be the best in the world, that takes quite a bit of practice. But to just sit down and play something, for a group of friends, that's not exactly going to take a lot of, time, unless your friends happen to be like Horowitz and you hang with a pretty high musical crowd. But yeah. Okay, so it's done. Woo! Okay. Alright. So it's finished now. All I had to do is actually add a B flat and an E flat in there. So it went battle, ends, and. So from D flat, I start with B flat minor, E flat minor, A flat minor. Okay, so that's the whole key signature. Now, not key signature, circle of fifths. So this shows all keys in existence in like the modern way we do things. All keys, they're majors, they're minors, and what keys, sharps or flats they have in each key. So at a glance you can find out what's happening. So it's called the circle of fifths. It's also known as a circle of keys, or the circle of keys. Now, what these things do is they actually use progressional patterns. So if you, when you learn how to do composing your own music, you can actually use this circle of keys to sort of help you compose. And like B flat, well, you can put it can go B flat major to E flat major, or it'll pull to F major. So it tends to want to go in a direction and pull towards those related keys. Technically, actually, the circle of fifths is really good because, say you're in C major, F major, C major, G major, E minor, A minor, and D minor are all really closely related keys. So you take, if C major or A minor are your key that you're in, the ones to the right or the left, the majors and minors, are closely related to that key and can be easily modulated into that. Now this is way high terminology for some of you viewers that maybe know a little bit about music and are just watching this for the heck of it. I just wanted to throw that in there so you might learn something new. Modulation is if you're in one key, or I guess you can't see it sideways, if you're in one key and then you decide to temporarily move to another key or change it. Now by doing that you have to alter the key signature and act as if you're in that key, so you have to change the tonal center. So you'll hear that a lot in music actually. There's lots of modulation in music going on all the time, but you aren't really aware of it. Okay, especially more in modern music, there's so much more modulation. In older music, it's very limited in how much it modulates, but when you get into classical music even starts modulating a bit more. But once you get into the romantic era, like Chopin modulated all the time, all over the place. And he didn't just use closely related keys. These ones are just easy to get into, but you could go from C major to D flat major to A major, and if you know what you're doing properly. It takes skill, but you can do it, and it'll sound smooth. That's the hardest part. You can do a modulation, but to make it sound smooth is another matter. So that takes skill. Anyway, so this is your whole layout, and you can actually learn all the different scales here now. You're probably like, he wants me to learn all those scales? No, just, take one or two every week, learn them off, and then just go. See, if this is all the scales that are in existence for your whole lifetime, can you learn this in the next 20 years, 10 years, 5 years? Could you just learn a couple, every week and eventually get them all done? Yeah. You could. So this is all there is in all of the world of music for scales. Okay? All the different types of keys anyway. I guess there's lots of different types of scales. But these are just all the different keys and whatnot. So yeah. So I'll take a picture of that. And now one thing I want you to notice here is they're all moving up in fifths. Like if you're on C and you go up a fifth from C, you get to G. Up a fifth from G is D. Up a fifth from D is A. And up a fifth from A is E. So it's just jumping up a fifth every time. And if you go this way, you're going down a fifth. Or sorry, not down a fifth. You're going down a fourth. Whoops. I was wrong. I don't know what I was thinking. You're going down a fifth if you go this way. Okay? That was stupid. Just total lapse of the memory there. But anyway, so you're going down a fifth this way and up a fifth this way. That's why it sort of makes sense that you'd be lowering, so going down, and raising, going up. Okay. Now one last pattern I want to show you guys is, say you're forgetting what the minor is. Look at the pattern here. It goes G major, F sharp, E. Don't even look at these, and it just goes G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F. They're all in a line. If you go to the piano, E, D, C. It's going backwards. It's going EDC. EDC, and then BAG, which would be this. So it's, and that's how you're going if you go down like this. So BAG, so G goes to F, E, D, and then C, B, A. So if you remember that, that's sort of a little trick you can use. Now for minors, they're always one more than whatever this is. See, look at this. If I'm on G major and I want to find out what the relative minor for C major is, it goes G, one up from G is A. C, one up from C is D minor. One up from F is G, one up from B is C, one up from E is F, one up from A is B, one up from D is E, one up from G is A. So those are some little similarities I found. Those are all actually little tidbits. Okay. So hopefully this lesson's been helpful. And take it easy, and I'll see you in the next lesson. See ya.